It's episode 190, which is the number of playoff games the Astros have won in the last 6 years.
Yeah, I saw that your tweet, which is a seeing stuff like that, it like the just numbers on the page where it's really a reminder of how great they've been for the last, what was that, since 2015, your thing?
Since 2015, yeah. I'll let me pull that up.
Yeah, just showing in comparison to the all the rest of the teams in the league, how many playoff wins. It's just like, I mean, it's not even up for debate. I've seen the dynasty debate on all over Twitter, and it's fun for the haters and everything, but it's definitely undeniable at this point.
All right, so yeah, I do want to talk about that. So, but before we do that, 2015 to present playoff wins by franchise. Houston 56, Los Angeles 47, Atlanta 23, the Yankees 21, the Cubs 19, the Red Sox 18, Cleveland 16, Tampa Bay 15, the Nationals 12, which pretty sweet to have gifted them a third of their playoff wins in the last decade at home in one series. Kansas City and Philadelphia tied at 11, Toronto 10, the Mets 9, the Padres 8, the Brewers 6, the Cardinals 5, the Giants 4, Oakland 3, Arlington, the White Sox and Mariners 2, Diamondbacks and Rockies 1, Anaheim, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Detroit, Miami, Minnesota, and Pittsburgh 0.
Minnesota been there so many times, but can't get it done.
Can't win a freaking game. So, I mean, one thing to note is that, I mean, yeah, the Dodgers are closest. But the third and fourth place, Atlanta and New York combined, don't have as many playoff wins as the Dodgers or Astros.
Wild.
In the last 8 seasons.
Absolutely wild.
That's nuts. Absolutely insane.
But yeah, you're constantly winning pennants and getting that extra. I mean, getting those extra series. I mean, that's gonna add up, and it clearly has. So
yeah, Washington's 11 wins are, all from 2019. That's so.
Yeah, because the Dodgers, they lost a World Series, right? The Red Sox got them in 2018. Is that right?
2018, the Red Sox got them.
Yeah, and then they won a fake one and lost to us. So they're basically, the Dodgers are just the Astros without the championships.
Yes. That's exactly what that is. It's just crazy to the number of teams that have in let's see, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 8 seasons have 4 or fewer playoff wins. Like, that's, if you've got 0, like, you need to talk to your front office and you need to call your representative. You need to get the Senate involved in helping you figure it out.
I think the expansion will help with that some, and then some organizations like Baltimore and are on the right path. But I mean,
Baltimore is on the come up, yeah.
Do you think the Miami Marlins ever even have a chance for another one?
Well, I mean, they made the playoffs in 2020, but the NL East is such a behemoth that
doesn't count.
Everything has to just break right for them.
They've got some talent there, but that talent usually gets poached. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But who cares about any of these fucking loser teams? Who cares? There's one team that is the champion of all champions.
So let me ask you this: do you consider the '90s Braves a dynasty?
Yes.
Okay, so that leads into this question: are the Astros a dynasty?
Unquestionably.
I think so. I think the second World Series puts them above the Braves. I would have had a hard time considering the Braves a dynasty before this little postseason run of postseason success, I think, is probably the order of words that I meant.
Right. Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, the Braves got one championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we've talked about this before. Baseball is kind of different. I think that that constantly being in the World Series and winning pennants is more of a testament to your team's consistency as being great than actually winning the World Series. I know that seems counterintuitive, but it's different than Super Bowls and different. You don't win back-to-back championships in the as much in baseball. It's a different sport. So the Astros winning all these pennants and being in the World Series, and then booking them right now with 2 wins is insane. Nobody else done that unless we're talking Murderers Row or Yankees.
Yeah.
And I don't the steroid Yankees. I don't really respect that as a dynasty because they cheated more than anybody else. But yeah, I think that you have to. And the Braves were consistently the best team in the National League, and we're right there to have a chance to win World Series and just couldn't get multiple ones. But that happens. So yeah, I'd consider them a dynasty. Not as cool as ours. It's definitely not as good as ours, but
not as cool as ours. I do think that the Astros should have won. I'm okay with losing one. That should have won one of the Braves. Think about who
2019 we should have won. The Braves got us. I don't think we win that series, but 2019 will forever. They're going to win. We're going to win another one. So I'm going to just get that out of the past, but that would haunt us. Because if that one comes through, then we're talking about just an absolute juggernaut, which they are a juggernaut. I don't think
they're a juggernaut.
The same team, but that's something that just changes the whole narrative somewhat.
I think 2019 was just a cursed year and should have told us what hell was coming down the road. But
true.
2021, I think, was more about injuries, and it's more about who the Astros didn't have than who the Braves had.
Agreed.
You didn't have McCullers. You had emotional Framber, not stone cold killer Framber that we've got now.
And the Braves were on one. They were just on one. It was one of those things. It was just one of those things. I don't. Yeah.
And you can say the same thing about the 2017 Astros. That the guys that they were running out there, like the 2022 Astros would beat the 2017 Astros in 5, maybe 4.
Maybe 4. Yeah. I agree.
So yeah. I mean, maybe the 2017 is the one that where the Dodgers just got and
game 5 circuit swings things. I mean, that was as much of an even series as it goes. I mean, it's a coin flip series as it is. So yeah, I mean, I think that the Dodgers they got God. There was some Dave Roberts mismanaged it.
Yeah, he did.
Very, very, very similar to what I would say what Thompson did, but it was class. Well, it was class, and they weren't the same class as the Astros, and that eventually proved to be the case.
I still can't believe pulling Wheeler after 70 pitches.
Wild. After as dominant, Wheeler was as dominant as I've seen of him for specifically, but just, I mean, you can't. That was it was a panic move. He was terrified, and it instantly backfired. And thank God for that. But yeah, I could not believe that.
Have you ever seen someone hit a ball where Jordan hit that home run last night?
No.
I have not either. I watched a lot of Astros games.
I've seen Mike Trout unload one to center that was maybe 3/4 of the way up the batter's eye, or maybe they didn't have the batter's eye yet. I've seen Mike Trout pummel one there. And then there was that Richie Sexton home run off the foul pole when it was there.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But nothing was like that thing was. I'm still surprised that it's only 450.
That seemed low.
I mean, I'm sure the math is right. I'm sure the nerds have got it right. But just as that wall's as high, almost as high as the Green Monster, which is 315 and left, and it just sails over that to dead center. I mean, that's an absolute missile.
Well, it was. So I was watching. There was on YouTube. There was sort of a World Series highlight where they went through all 6 games and did sort of the highlights. And no, I don't know. That wasn't what it was. I was watching some like Astros postseason highlight package that was on YouTube. And Jordan's the 3-run bomb in Game 1 against Seattle. That one only apparently went 433. So I can understand. I guess if we're looking at weird math, then. Yeah, last night's was a longer home run, but those both feel low by about 50 feet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was the camera view looking back from where they caught the ball over the batter's eye in those seats. It was absolutely insane that somebody could hit a baseball that far. And the swing wasn't even that violent. Jordan's swing is so short and to the point that he just uses the pitcher's momentum and just it's as effortless of a power stroke as I've seen. It's crazy. Yeah.
Like I was reading or I saw something that the reason that teams stayed away from Jordan early on was they didn't think he would have enough power. And like he hit like his last season in Cuba, he hit one home run and it was an inside the park home run, apparently. And he gets to the US and there's more of a focus on diet and health and nutrition and get in the weight room.
Well, and also launch angle and approach. I mean, he was a straight line drive hitter and a guy that's just going to go. He wants base hits. He's just a pure hit. That's why he's a pure hitter with power, because they taught him how to hit with power. But I don't think that's a focus anywhere else. People just square the ball up, hit line drives, which he does very well. But that's crazy.
He can do that too.
It's crazy that would be that's crazy that would keep teams away, idiots.
And he's such a good hitter that a line drive, you're like, an absolute rope to left center or right center, or more likely right center. But you're like, oh man, he smoked it 112 off the bat. Like he just missed that. Like a line drive is like, oh man, that was going 520. I mean, you're right. The swing is so pure and so compact that it's just an absolute pleasure. And we thank the Dodgers for the gift that they gave us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's the trade that won 2 World Series, because they beat Josh Fields in 2017 to win a game, and then won in 2022. Unbelievable. That's a fireable offense to just trade Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah, I'd move the team back to Brooklyn. I mean, I'd pack it up. That's just inexcusable. But that's anything that's like that. That's fun to hold even further over the Dodgers' head and all of the just negative feelings and hate that they feel, that they're still tweeting. The news is still tweeting stuff about the Astros cheating in 2017, which is absolutely, now it's not even annoying. It's comical that they're still caught up on it. So that's fun.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, the postseason, we talked about last time how nerve-wracking it is each game, especially in the World Series. But after they won, and I've been sitting back kind of reflecting and thinking back, this team has been as much of a lock and on a collision course to win this World Series all year long as they've ever been. And really, you got to just kind of take yourself back out. They've been best team in the AL, cruising. And once the Mets, Braves, and Dodgers lost, it was pretty much a wrap. The Mariners were the best team the Astros played in this postseason.
I'd agree. I would agree.
Phillies, well, then the Mariners were at least as good as the Phillies. The Yankees were not as good as either of those two teams, as far as I'm concerned.
A Phillies Mariners World Series means that Game 7 started 9 minutes ago. Like that like they go 7, and that's just back and forth, or it's 0-0 in the 22nd inning. I don't know, whichever one of those things happens.
Yeah, the Mariners just seem to have. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to disrespect the Phillies. They got one real clear victory, which seemed, now looking back, wasn't really a clear victory, as I said, and people chastised me about leaving McCullers in to be a martyr and wear that to save the bullpen. Might have been something that's pivotal in winning the World Series. You take that loss, leave him in there, let him eat that. And Dusty even said that in the postgame, that said that he was props to McCullers, that he left him in there. He knew what he was doing. He wore that one for the team.
Probably 4 innings that McCullers. That's 12
he definitely got rocked, but I mean, he was left in there to continue to get rocked. It wasn't like, it was kind of what it was. So I mean, props to him for being able to, like, in the World Series, being a competitor that he is, that paid dividends, because the bullpen was as good as it ever has been.
Yeah,
I mean that was incredible.
So one thing that I was kind of looking at this morning, from the National League Wildcard Series through the NLCS, Bryce Harper hit 419, 444, 907.
Mm-hmm.
And in the World Series hit 200, 360, 400.
He got the one home run.
Rhys Hoskins hit 120, 154, 240 in the World Series. Nick Castellanos, 125, 160, 167.
Embarrassing.
JT Realmuto, 167, 231, 333.
Kyle Schwarber was it.
Kyle Schwarber hit 250, 423, 700.
And he only hit 250, so he had a bunch of solo home runs. But I mean, it felt like he was always a catalyst in doing stuff.
Yeah, there were walks there. If you're hitting 250 but have a 423 on base
And it seemed
percentage,
like Baum, or however you say it, was always on base. I feel like was okay.
no, I didn't even look at
Oh,
him.
it doesn't matter. He wasn't driving any runs, but it felt like he was always
Head
doing
full of leg
something.
hair. Brandon Marsh, 231, 375, 539, the second best hitter on the Phillies in the World Series.
All right, yeah.
Like it's just it's just nuts. Like the way that, I mean, that's a top heavy lineup, and you close them down and you win the game, and they did. I mean, if you look at game one, like the Astros won 5 games out of 6 and just sort of got there in game one.
100%. Yeah, that's kind of what goes back to what I was saying about the class. The Astros were just pure class, and they I mean, this team was as good as it gets all year long, ran away with the American League, sailed through the postseason and eventually the World Series. And based on how their lineup was, I would say that they underachieved as a lineup. Their pitching was incredible and bullpen, but if that lineup hits like they're designed to, you have a Michael Brantley in there still, and you have production at the DH. They absolutely mowed through everybody. They may not lose a game in the entire postseason. And so they were winning close games like they were designed to do, but the bullpen was locked down. The starting pitching was all-time great, and you got timely hitting, and that's what a class organization does. They didn't panic, and they're great.
Framber Valdez threw 12 and a third, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 18 Ks, 5 walks.
And he didn't really have it. I mean, he did. He reeled it all in, but he was wild, throwing some. Yeah, he was a little bit wild, a little bit.
Yeah.
He kind of.
Well, the strike zone was weird. Strike zone was weird last
wild. Night. Yeah, that Barksdale really was not great, but it wasn't. It wasn't
not the first Lance B to screw things up at Minute Maid Park.
True. And we don't know his stance on the LGBT community, so we don't know.
So you got Framber. Yeah. Framber out there, just real quick. Ryan Presley, 5 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, none earned.
Please.
5 Ks and a walk. Brian Abreu, 5 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 9 Ks, 2 walks. Rafael Montero, 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 4 Ks and 3 walks. I mean, you've got Urquidy and Garcia that made 56 starts in the regular season and pitched a combined 3 2/3 innings in the World Series. Like that's Hunter Brown didn't pitch. Stanek pitched an inning.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me how how it gets just like crushed down and real concise with who's condensed, I guess would be the word to who's getting used. I mean, that bullpen all-time Brian Abreu, as great of a postseason as maybe any reliever ever. I mean, as dominant as it gets.
He shoved. I mean, all the time. Like, and at no point were we like, oh crap, it's Brian Abreu.
But like to go from like in Abreu, like I don't know, I felt like Abreu was used sparingly throughout the year. We're seeing Stanek, then all of a sudden it flips, and Abreu's the high leverage guy. That's all of a sudden other than Presley, the dominant guy in the bullpen, and not to be anything against Neris or Neris was clutch as hell, and Montero too. Montero scared me all year long. He had electric stuff, but Montero just would. I don't know. There's something about him that just terrified me, but he kept it all together for the most part. They gave it 5 total runs the entire postseason. Is that what it is?
Something like that. And Montero, wild. I think Montero scared us because we're like, wait a second. We traded Joe Smith for this guy. Like this is because I mean the Toro for Graveman thing, that feels like a straight up trade. And then the Smith for Montero was like, we'll unload this terrible contract for your terrible contract. And Montero worked out way better than for Houston than Joe Smith did for Seattle.
That seems like a typical Astros. We know something you don't know, idiot. we're gonna take the guy that you think's garbage, and all of a sudden it's gonna take a couple adjustments, and which is what they've done. I mean, they did it with Charlie. They've done it with Charlie since Charlie Morton. They've done.
Colin McHugh.
We see something. We see. I mean, even Ryan Presley was good with the Twins, but they're like, no, we see. And Presley was just barely closing, was doing some setup and stuff, but wasn't didn't quite have it all together. Like, no, we see a guy with high spin, and we see they just would see the potential, and we're like, no, we can change this, and they've proven that.
I think I want to go on and say that Colin McHugh started that off.
For sure, yeah.
Here's the guy that in come on, now's not the time. Baseball Reference. With New York, he had a 7.59 ERA. Actually, New York, he had a 8.26 ERA.
That's not great.
Parts of 2 seasons. He goes to Colorado, 9.95 ERA.
Yeah.
Comes to Houston, and in parts of 6 seasons, 3.63 ERA. And I mean, it's just, yeah, the ability to sort of find those guys and turn them into something absolutely unbelievable. You know, that's and with McHugh going from the rotation to the bullpen, and that's sort of where he's been kind of ever since. Also didn't realize that this was McHugh's age 35 season. Like, we've been doing this a while. When Colin McHugh is 30, he'll be 36 next year.
I don't know. I don't like hearing. Please don't ever bring up stats like that, please. Yeah, I don't need nothing that can lock down what aging is happening. Yeah, I mean, Montero's numbers with Seattle were a joke. He had a 7-something ERA in their bullpen. Like he was just nothing. I know he was decent, close some games for Philadelphia and had a little bit of success, but I mean, Seattle was like, nah, we're good. We don't need anything. We're fine. Or was he with Philadelphia first and Seattle before that? I don't remember.
No, he was with the Mets, then the Rangers, then the Mariners, and 2021.
Neris was with the Phillies.
Neris was with the Phillies.
That's what I was thinking.
With Seattle, he threw 43 in the 3rd innings in 2021, 7.27 ERA.
Yeah, that's what I
thought. 1.64, and then comes to Houston this year, and it has a 2.37 ERA with a 1.02 WHIP. I mean, it's just a complete, like, he didn't throw a career high number of innings because he was a starter in 2017 for the Mets. And then he didn't pitch in 2018, probably because he was hurt, because they made him throw 100 innings more than he threw in 2016.
Typical Mets.
But I mean, you're talking about a career 4.64 ERA, and that includes the 2.37 that he put up in Houston. 2.18 if you want to count the 4 games that he pitched in the 2021 season.
But yeah, to come in and pitch all those. I mean, and he was in a ton of high leverage situations on the biggest of stages with the highest of pressures, and came through. So shout out to him. That's been the story. That's been a story. So I mean, it's pretty exciting, and even though the World Series is obviously, this is a celebration, we love this. It's it puts some stuff from 2017 for some people to rest. But also, this has made me more pumped for next year and the years to come. It's just they're set up to do it again, and I think they might. I don't think
they might.
They have to be the Las Vegas favorite to win the World Series based on, and that's before handling JV or any of that stuff. They have to be.
They are the AL favorite at plus 550. The Dodgers are Caesar Sportsbook's overall favorite at plus 500. I saw that.
Caesars, when are you going to learn that the Dodgers don't have it?
You bring up an interesting point, because, so I mean, obviously, I think the Astros will bring Verlander back. Like, I think Crane will make that happen.
But did you see that? I don't know. I don't remember who tweeted it, but there was somebody, a news source, I wish I could remember who it was, tweeted that they had a quote from Crane that said that first thing that he's doing tomorrow, but other than getting ready for the parade, is to call up JV and see what he wants to do. Which is absolutely correct. And
that's the right call.
And probably, hopefully the next call is to Dusty Baker, because I'd like to see him return. Fuck it.
You want to go? Would you go Dusty over? I mean, I think if Dusty wants to come back, he'll come back. But I'm ready for Espada to get his shot.
I want him to. If that is the like if that's the move in terms of chain of command, they're moving, they're going to pass the guard to, if it is Espada, then I'm 100% on board with that, because that's Joe Espada is as much the Astros culture and that's passing the baton, passing the torch. Like that's, yeah, he's gonna be. We got lucky with the White Sox botching it and not taking him.
They've done that 2 managers in a row now. Good job, White Sox. Unserious franchise. Also could see like Dusty being like, look, I want one more year and then turn it over to Joe, but I want Joe with me. Like I think Espada might sign the manager in waiting,
God, he's been
contract.
that. He's been that. He was the manager in waiting under Hinch. So I mean,
yeah, but I think Dusty was absolutely the right call after what went down
following
the 2019 season.
100%. I mean, that's not even. I don't think that's even up for debate. Yeah, he absolutely was, and he's been even better. Like, I mean, I liked the hiring. I don't think we could have done any better, but in terms of at the time, it was a tumultuous time for us all.
It was, it was actively bad.
But as it's played out, like Dusty, I know Astros Twitter would have something to say about this, but I think his managing has been fantastic. He's known when to go with his gut and the feeling. He's known when to go with the numbers. Like players literally would have taken a bullet for him, all of them, the way they reacted. It's as great a story, and I'm stoked for him specifically. But that's best thing for this franchise as well. I mean, I think he's as important as any of the players. I don't know. Yeah, he's been clutch. Just little things. Like I read that he stopped at St. Patrick's Cathedral and bought rosary beads for Mancini when he was struggling. Just little things like that Mancini was like, man, that gave me some extra confidence. Just like, yeah, he's the man.
Those are the little things that, honestly, like I try to do that with the soccer team. That it doesn't matter. No, like your strategy, of course, it matters. But if they think that they're expendable or you don't care or whatever it is, that having the personal connection with an athlete that can make an entire that's a culture that has been built in Houston. I think Hinch did a decent job of it, but I think Dusty's kind of taken it to the next level.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would argue that all of the you're right, the prep, the strategizing, the literal between the lines, the baseball, that's one thing. But I think and this applies to even to you as well. I think the sports psychology of it, the building people's confidence, just knowing that they've got somebody supporting them and stuff. I think that's as instrumental as anything that's like, hey, do this on this play. You got to do that and do this. Keep your head down or whatever. Like just knowing somebody's got your back and supports you when you're at your lowest, you have zero confidence. Just to have somebody be like, no, we know what we know that you've got it, like that pays dividends,
So what did you make of? I don't know if you saw Jeff Passan's story, who Astros fans love to hate.
I did. I read it.
Absolutely beautiful piece by Passan.
Partially beautiful.
Partially beautiful, but he did mention that there was an agreement between the Astros and White Sox to send Urquidy to Chicago for Wilson Contreras, and Crane shut it down.
Dusty mainly. It was really Dusty.
Dusty. He trusted. Crane went with. Dusty shut it down, and Crane was like, whatever Dusty says.
Well, at first I'm like, what the fuck? That's wild. That would have been the DH. That would have been the DH that would have that would have really plugged a hole. And then I saw Dusty's comments that were like, no, our Kitty was pitching well at the time. Contreras is a free agent, would have been a rental, and that those players are me, and they're not. And he just goes, that's not what we needed at the time. And like that's the kind of shit that wins you a World Series. Like, and I'm 100% with him. Although that would have been nice. That seems like a pretty good deal. Considering the depth, but that thing that's just like, no, Contreras didn't fit into what we're doing right here. This is an us team thing, and he's going out. He's trying to get another contract. Urquidy's been here and has been productive and given great innings. He didn't know at that point what's going forward, how he's going to use what. So Urquidy was an asset, and like I love that. That's crucial.
And Lance wasn't back yet. By the trade deadline, McCullers was still out. So Dusty's thinking like, I don't want to give up 20% of my rotation, because we didn't know. We knew Hunter Brown was like for real, but you had just traded Odorizzi, so that's part of your rotation. Lance hasn't come back yet. Hunter Brown hasn't arrived yet. Like I understand why they did it, but I can also understand why Crane and Click don't exactly see eye to eye, and why after going to the World Series for the second year in a row, they might have a new general manager next year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, but also, I mean, reading that same article just reminded me that, I mean, also we have to remember that Click built this all-time great bullpen. That was all his moves. He traded for, it was Montero for Neris, for he signed Stanek. He got it. I mean, other than Presley, he built that bullpen. So I mean,
Abreu is homegrown. I'm gonna look at this.
No, he did. He brought in the bullpen overall, for the most part, as we know it at the World Series iteration, was, I mean, that's pretty much a Click design. I think he needs at least credit for that.
Yeah, no, he does. He brought in Maton.
Yeah, so Maton, Stanek, he signed Mate. They brought in Maton.
Stanek, Neris, Montero.
Yeah, well, okay, that's pretty good.
That's not a bad return.
And then tried to bring in Contreras, and I understand that's a Dusty. I mean, so I mean, that's having a deal done. That's doing his job.
But also, like, shout out, and I don't want to take a dump on Jan, because I think if you get rid of Click, like that's sort of insane.
Yeah.
There's my dog.
Bark once if you're
No, but
unless Stearns is coming in, and that's all. If Stearns is in play, then I'm okay with it. But yeah, Click does not deserve to not have a job. Well, he'll have a job instantly. But
he'll be somewhere immediately. And so, you know, at this point, maybe Click is like, you know, no, I don't. This is something I don't want to deal with. Like, I don't want to deal with a meddlesome owner.
Yeah, we could be having it all wrong. We're talking like it's Crane versus Click, and he's just like, I want to do this. Yeah, he could just be like, no, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna have deals done. Look, I mean, clearly I've been a success. The team's been a success. Like, what more do you want from me? So, I mean, I could definitely see that.
Click could be like, look, I'm tired of getting shouted down by two 70-year-old dudes in Dusty and Crane, and that might be valid. I mean, I could see that.
See, yeah, I mean, I'd be mad too, but I kind of like I like the manager having that kind of power in terms of team chemistry, and not having a Theo Epstein coming in and just Cashman, like, no, we don't care. We will sign the literal devil to come play shortstop, and it doesn't matter. The clubhouse, and that doesn't matter. We don't care how everybody's hanging out. We're trying to win games, and we don't want them to be friends. But clearly, the teams that are successful, for the most part, are this family, us against the world mentality. The 2004 Red Sox, the Astros, clearly, and just seeing them celebrate. Obviously, they're elated. They won the World Series, but they looked, and obviously not most of the team was not there for 2017, but there was just it was just pure elation, especially from from Altuve and Bregman and those. But I mean, everybody, they were as pumped as, I don't know. Obviously they're pumped. I'm just stating the obvious that they won the World Series, but it was, it looked like it was as important to them as it was to any fan or anybody watching. It felt like that we were all on the same ride, not to loop the fans in, but honestly, the fans over the last few years, they've caught the brunt of some shit. And obviously the fans, we've done nothing. We didn't do anything on the field. But this one was big for Astros fans. We were part of it. We had to deal with all that nonsense, and it was a validation or vindication for the Astros, the fans, as well.
Yeah, no, it was. This was the fans' World Series. I don't know what was sweeter, This one or 2017?
This one for me personally, this one was a little bit sweeter. And only because I had context and I had a whole, I had the whole story. I had the 2017. I have the thing hanging over. I had the journey and the peaks and valleys of losing the World Series. So I mean, I think that it's just an amalgam of all that stuff came to this. And I, instead of writing and being a psychopath, I decided not to. I was just like, I came home and I would just watch post game stuff and just kind of took it all in. It wasn't 2017 was a blur, an absolute blur. Didn't, you know what I mean? So like this, yeah, just a few years older and a more grizzled fan. I was just like, just took it all in, and this was sweeter for me. What about you?
Yeah, no, 2017. I mean, we talked. It was just that was baseball cocaine. Was the 2017 World Series
when you had the storm too? So that's
that was, I mean, I don't think. Let me take a look. I don't know that any of those 2017, none of those 2017 series were terribly easy. I mean, it was 7 games over the Yankees, I guess.
Yeah, and we were losing. We had to come back and win 6 and 7 to win that series.
Yeah, the ALDS was 3-1.
The DS has been easy beasy, pretty much for the entire every year.
The ALDS is just an extra regular season series.
Right.
But yeah, with the Yankees in 2017, I mean, we know now that like we own the Yankees.
Remember we went to New York and didn't get a hit.
Yeah, we went to New York up 2-1. So it was 2-1 Astros in game 1. It was 2-1 Astros in game 2. I don't remember that. I'll need to go back and watch those.
We had the walk off where Altuve should have been out by a mile at home, and fucking idiot dropped the the catcher dropped it.
It was 8-1 Yankees in game 3. So that's
2-1. That was McCullers' start. Yeah.
Yankees win game 4, 6-4. Ken Giles gets the loss.
Yeah.
Keiko gets the loss in game 5. It's 5-0. So it's 3-2 Yankees coming back to Houston.
Yeah, you blow a 2-0 lead. So yeah, so I mean, it was the opposite of 2019 World Series, but
no,
we had to come back and win game 6. Yeah, because I was at game 6. And
7-1 Verlander win.
Yeah, we sailed through game 6. It was a party. It was fun. And then because I was with my buddy, and he was like, "I'm buying. We got to come back." So he bought tickets like on the spot to come back for game 7. And game 7 obviously ruled. Got Evan Gattis hitting home runs and that Springer catch. That was very memorable. I mean, I don't want to take it away from 2017. It's just
no, this one's sweeter, for sure. But and I mean, equally stressful.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, the games were all. I mean, they weren't. I guess they weren't all close. But I guess with a no hitter, it doesn't matter if you're up 5-0. It's the World Series, and with that team, after we had from game 1, you skip like that. We're like they can score 5 runs. We've seen them do it. That can't happen. Yeah. And then the bombardment the game before. But that Dodgers series was an all-time great World Series. It really does suck. It does suck that that's quote air quote tainted. I still don't consider that tainted. I consider that an absolute legitimate season and World Series. And it sucks that other people do, because that Dodger series was an all-time great.
Well, I think if Dodgers fans had the mental capacity,
they don't
to be like us in the 2021 World Series and be like, man, we just kind of ran into a buzzsaw. Like that was sort of cursed from the jump, with Soler's leadoff home run in game 1. If they could sit back and be like, man, we just got like that's the appropriate response to 2017. Like that was insane World Series. You don't have to like it. Like, I don't like the 2021 World Series, but I can at least admire that the Braves went out and did a job. That if you can sit back and say, like, in 2017, the Astros, and they just had one more big hit, than
yeah, but they think that the cheating thing they're hung up on that, and they're not.
They think they weren't doing it too.
Well, they were, but I mean, I don't think anybody was doing it at that point. At that point, it kind of been the Astros had stopped doing it up until that point. So it just sucks that like that. Yeah, they can't get past that, and they're hung up on that aspect of it. And a lot of people have. I've just been seeing a bunch of. It's honestly, it's really a loser mentality that these people like. Just, I mean, I guess I get it. You're looking for an excuse, but just, I don't know. I literally could never, no matter the circumstance, no matter how much I hate the fan base of the team, could tweet something like, "I'm nauseous. It makes me sick to see this team." I mean, I would never ever. I don't care if the Yankees win. I don't care who. I don't care. I'll be like, good for them. That rules. Just like that attitude. I don't even understand it. I don't understand it at all. Just that angry and just like, oh, well, they're cheating, so they never could do it. Like, that's just such a terrible way to live your life and terrible viewpoint. I don't. So I mean, so it makes it sweeter as we move on that's still lingering around, because it's clearly not the case with the team or with what's going on. It's not based in reality. So it just makes it a little bit sweeter, but it's just crazy to me that's still, that's something that people are thinking, and it's affecting people that way. Like, it just makes me sick. The Astros, like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry.
Do you bring, and we can start to wrap this up. Do you bring Mancini back next year?
Yeah.
Do you bring Gurriel back next year?
We talk about it. See what he wants to do.
Do you bring Brantley back next year?
Absolutely, I bring Brantley back.
With the emergence, I guess that would let you put Chaz maybe in leave him in center, have Tucker.
You split the DH in left field with Brantley and Jordan, with Brantley coming back.
Yeah. And Verlander, of course, if he will re-sign, then you bring him back.
Well, he will re-sign. So if you can get a deal done that you're both done, there's no reason. He's definitely not done. Does anybody else think he's done?
I don't think
no. Tom Brady thing, and I know Tom Brady's having a little bit of trouble this year, but it's not because he's dropped in what is able to do. No, JV's still got a couple left in him, and yeah, the team's set up to. Here, let me pull it up before we wrap up. I had a list of who's under team control for the coming up.
Verlander has a $25 million player option, which he can decline and hit free agency. And I'd give him 30. I'd give him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's locked up, if that Crane thing was real and he's locked up. Kind of like that. I saw that. What's his name with the Mets? They've already locked him down. Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see here. Yeah, I looked at, and then Mancini is also I think it's a mutual option, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right. I'm pulling that up.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it is. 23.
Yeah, 23. Right, it's a mutual option. So yeah. So everyone cannot. It's a $250,000 buyout or a $10 million mutual option. Right. $10 million for Trey Mancini. We can talk about that. But we'll do another show soon about
for sure
free agents and what money comes off the books.
For sure. Let me find this list.
But somehow the Phillies had like a $240 million payroll.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
The lunch pail kids coming to work, putting their hard hat on, that beat the big bad Houston Astros with a $60 million less payroll.
Yeah, I mean they got on one, and they've got some things to be excited about, but they didn't have the juice. Okay, so yeah, so here's this, and then we'll wrap up after this. So the Astros have Maldonado and Stanek through next year, Altuve, Bregman, and Neris through 24. 25, we have Tucker, Javier, Valdez, Urquidy, and Presley through 25. Garcia, McCullers, Abreu, McCormick, and Dubon through 26. Pena through 27, and Jordan Alvarez, Hunter Brown, and David Hensley through 2028. That's
5 more. That's 6 more years.
Yeah, and that's with Brantley, Verlander, Gurriel, Montero, Diaz, and Mancini all being free agents and up in the air. But I mean, you want to talk about bringing up closing window? No, the fucking thing's wide open.
Window's wide open.
Tornadoes come through, and it's wide open. Yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting time.
We'll spend Jim Crane's money on the next episode, but no, it's looking good, and yeah, we're champions.
And also, I am going to apply for tax exemption for the Ghost Wolf. Feel like that's a true religion that is working.
It is.
So I feel like that's at least try to get some money there. I don't know how that works, but I am going to try to get tax exemption for the Ghost Wolf.
501c3 for sure. Your internet is non-taxable now.
Although it's clear that I'm it's blasphemous and not good for me overall. But we'll see.
Now, if I could find my keys, that would be great.
Ghost Wolf and Shaman, can you please find the keys? You've brought a World Series. Can you help out with that? I am very interested to find out where they ended up being, because
they're either here or they're on the road somewhere.
Oh, you still think that you still have you? I mean, is putting your keys on top of the roof? Is that a thing that you've done before?
No, that's why I don't think it happened.
I don't either. It's never. It's weird because when you lose stuff, you always fixate on the things that are not. They're the most devastating, but they're never the thing that's more likely. You're always like, oh, they're definitely on the road. It's where they are. You start looking in all the wrong places. But I don't know. Ghost Wolf and Shaman should help you out.
That didn't happen because my car's still here. Like, we live in a part of town where, like, if I lost my keys a block from my house, like, someone would have figured out that that's my car and they would have driven off in it. And
just walking, going down the block, just unlocking and trying to get in. That's pretty funny.
That would have been that. So they're here. I just don't know where. It's not ideal.
You'll find them. We're world champions. This rules. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the parade tomorrow or not, but if I do, I'll try to get some content. We'll try to get something going, and we'll reconvene soon. Let's try not to do as long as a hiatus as normal, but definitely we gotta take a breather after this postseason. It's been stressful as hell.
Stressful as hell. Did it. You and I did it.
We did it. You and me both by ourselves. Yep. Champions. To all you listeners, we love you a lot for sticking around, because Lord knows I wouldn't have. You guys rule, and we love you. And this rules. Yeah, we get. I mean, honestly, this season aside, I would say we are responsible for this dynasty. I mean, the podcast has existed, and they've only been incredible. So 2016 aside, that was just the first year getting into it. So I don't know. It's something to at least be studied and looked into. Once we
hit our stride, that's when they started winning pennants.
I can't say anything against that. All right, buddy. We did it. World champions.
Good looking out.
All right. I'm going to stop this.